Years ago, humanity almost got annihilated by magical armored insects called devil beetles. These devil beetles drove humanity off the lands, and now they are forced to live on floating cities. However, the wizards from Sky Wizard Academy fight them off. Canada, who was once called the strongest swordsman, is now labeled as a traitor. Kanata is given a chance to regain his lost respect by instructing a team of misfit girls. Insects with magical powers, called devil beetles, rise up to fly from Earth to the sky. Kanata, Yuri Floster, Chloe Sevigny, and Lloyd Alvin fight a large number of Arcaner's insects. Canada saves Yuri from an archer Nar's attack. Chloe throws a long-range attack, but more and more devil beetles arrive as reinforcements. Canada asks everyone to retreat and decides to fight them alone. He finds a huge archer appearing before him 6 months later in the Misgun City floating in the sky. Kanata is referred to as a traitor now. Chloe briefs Freon, the head of Sky Wizard Academy, about the fired Me 601. Flame is a delusional narcissist like Eisenach, an introverted but enthusiastic girl, and Ms. Sora Whittle, the leader of Team E601 who has a total of 124 losses. Freon asks Chloe to find an instructor for the useless girls. Kanata, who works in the warehouse, now learns that he is summoned by Freon to her office. On his way to Freon's office, Kanata stumbles into a red-haired loudmouth girl with bread in her mouth. They both trip, her bread and jam stick to Kanata's pants. The girl blames Kanata for that and calls him a pervert, but Kanata disappears from the scene. While washing his pants, he finds a girl obsessing about her beauty in the mirror. She notices Kanata without his pants and thinks it's due to her beauty. She shouts at him as a pervert. In a hurry, he enters the girl's bathroom. Lexie catches him coming out of the bathroom in tears. She tells Kanata that it is the girl's bathroom and asks him if he is a pervert. Kanata runs from there, saying out loud that he's not a pervert. Kanata runs into Yuri Foster in the stairway, who calls him a traitor in a sarcastic way and gets angry at him. Chloe finds them and tries to calm Yuri down. Kanata then tells Chloe that Yuri is hurt because of the past events 6 months ago. Later, Kanata visits Freon's office along with Chloe and is asked to be an instructor for the misfit girls of the fired Me 601. Freon asks Kanata to turn the girls into useful wizards so they can help fight the Devil Beetle Arch in hours. As Kanata walks through the hallway, the students call him a traitor. On the other hand, the 3 girls of fired Me 601 talk about their encounter with a pervert. As Kanata enters the room, he finds out that these are all the 3 girls he had encountered in the morning. The girls call him a traitor and then a pervert while putting their weapons to his face. Nizara complains that a pervert can't be their instructor. Kanata then surprises them by telling them everything he knows about them. Ms. Sora and Riko tell the clueless Lexie about why Kanata is called a traitor. They explain that Kanata skipped a very important match. As a result, his team wasn't promoted to an easily guaranteed S rank. He used to be called Black Sword Master Kronos. He then explains that they can get stronger than him if they train with him. Mizuru agrees to the proposal, but Riko refuses, saying that as a divine being, she doesn't need to train. He suggests to Riko that she can demonstrate her superiority in a training practice match, which she agrees upon. Kanata and fired Me 601 fly high to the sky for a practice match. The girls get irritated to see that Kanata is not even using fly magic to face them. Kanata asks them that they can use their weapons to bring him down. If they can bring him down, the training exercise would be over. Kanata flies away while stating the rules to them. This aura starts chasing Kanata alone, leaving the other 2 behind. Kanata notices at once that there is zero teamwork. He finds Misora's speed and stamina impressive. Nizara draws her weapon from her ring and tries to hit Kanata with it. Kanata escapes into the clouds, holding Mizura as his target. He finds Lekti behind him with her twin swords, Amano Habakiri. Kanata finds that Lekti's moves are strong, but she gets nervous in front of the enemy. Meanwhile, Riko takes Kanata into her target range with the help of her magic gun, Athena. Kanata easily dodges the attack but finds Lekti in the target range and saves her by blocking the attack precisely with his small blade. Kanata acknowledges Riko's aim but says that it is too accurate and hence easy to dodge. Meanwhile, Ms. Sora keeps searching for Kanata cluelessly and doesn't find him. Kanata tells the girls that it is the day for their individual training regiments. As usual, Riko refuses to train. Nisora tries to stop her, but Kanata asks to let her go and focus on her individual training. Ken Oda asks Lexie to wear a maid costume and hand out flyers to the students. Lexie gains some confidence as 3 boys take a flyer from her. On the other hand, Kanata assigns a mission to Misora to find a weakness of Riko. Nizora tails Riko but is caught right away by Riko. As Chloe flies like a ghost to Kanata's room, she finds Kanata looking at Mizura's statistics. He tells her that she has magic power reserves higher than the rank wizards. Kanata instructs Misora to change her weapon so that she can perform better, but she refuses to do so. She runs away crying and complaining that Kanata doesn't know a single thing about her. A flashback from the past shows Misora's mother fighting the devil beetles and defeating all of them, including a huge monster beetle, quite easily. Ms. Sora stands at her mother's grave, gets angry at Kanata, and says, "I refuse to give up my sword." On the other hand, Riko notices that Kanata has affected Lexie and gained her respect. Kanata visits a cafe owned by Misora's family. Ken Oda finds out that Misora's mother, Sosi, has passed away, and her husband Gale doesn't have any memories of her. Because she was an elite sky wizard, Kanata asks Misora's father Gale why she is obsessed with the magic cannon sword. Gale explains that the sword belonged to Misora's mother, and she is trying to keep her legacy alive as a way not to forget her. Another flashback shows young Mizura and Gale spending time with Sosi as she returns from her mission. Sosi, although one of the strongest sky wizards, is clumsy at her household. One day Sosi goes on a mission but never returns. Ms. Sora asks Gale about her mother, but he surprisingly says that he doesn't remember if he had a wife. Nisora asks the city's people, but they react the same way. Finally, she learns from 2 sky wizards that Sosi sacrificed herself for the city during a mission. Nizura trains very hard, holding her mother's sword. Later, Kanata finds Mizura at her mother's grave and asks her to swear at her mother's grave that she'll leave the magic cannon sword. Kanata explains to Misora that her mother never thought about the sword, her real aim was to save the city. When Kanata sees that Misora is never going to back down from the sword, he decides to help her while training. Misora thanks Kanata. Riko, who watches Mizura's new attitude towards Kanata, finds it very interesting. Ken Oda informs Lloyd about the fired Mi-571, the next opponent for E601. Yuri barges in, telling Kanata not to lie to her team and fill them with false hopes in a sarcastic manner. After Yuri and Lloyd leave, Riko arrives at Kanata's table. She brags about her beauty as usual, and Kanata laughs at her. Then Kanata tells Riko about their next ranked match opponents, but Riko leaves, saying that she doesn't have any desire to train like mortals. Worried for their next match, Misora and Lexie try to convince Riko to train with Kanata, but she refuses at once. Misora then pleads with Riko, sitting on her knees, which worries Riko. Kanata joins them and says that Riko is right not to go to a match they are sure to lose, but on the other hand abandoning their friends on the match's lane. Kanata then tells Mizura that he's going to give her the key to victory. Riko watches the same dream over and over again about chasing after her big sister Freon. Kanata shows Misora his sword, Gladius, and fires a strike blaster at clouds, making them disappear. He says that this powerful attack from the magic cannon sword is the key to their victory. She manages to fire the strike blaster, but it drains her energy. Kanata adds 3 strike blaster attacks every day to her training. Meanwhile, Riko watches everything from a distance and acknowledges the new attack. After watching Lexie's improvements, she questions if she could match her sister with the help of Kanata's training. Kanata suddenly vanishes from Riko's vision, and she finds him behind her. Kanata then tells her that she has the highest ranking detection type skill, clairvoyance ability. Riko points out a flaw in Kanata's plan, but Kanata says that she is to fill in the flaw. Ken Otter finally manages to get on Riko's good side and gets an opportunity to trick her brain into thinking about improving. She then decides to join the training. Fired Mi-601 and E-571 come face to face, and suddenly an alarm alerts them about the devil beetles approaching the Miscun city. Freon orders to send all E-rank teams to help with evacuations and A-rank wizards to the sky. Kanata's team successfully evacuates the citizens. Riko questions Kanata why he is not helping on the front lines. When Lektai shows up with a little girl who was separated from her mother, Chloe takes out the whole squad of devil beetles with one shot. Yuri praises her and tells her that she is not going to use her spear anymore. Meanwhile, Leon comes with the news that a new squad of devil beetles has broken through the city defenses. As the devil beetles enter the city, Freon orders to send every single wizard to save the city. Misora tries to aim an attack on a devil beetle but misses. She gets a beetle with another shot. In the third shot, she takes out all the devil beetles with a strike blaster, destroying the street along with her dad's cafe. A chimera, the leader of devil beetles, appears. Freon suggests killing the chimera, and every other beetle will fall back. Fired Me 571 kills the chimera, but the devil beetles don't stop. Kanata tells his team that there is another chimera. Riko finds the other chimera using her clairvoyance. Yuri feels overwhelmed by the number of devil beetles and wishes to get inside the city to save it. Chloe and Lloyd tell her not to worry as they can rely on Kanata in the city. Kanata asks Fired Me 601 to destroy the chimera, but they don't feel confident in doing so. He then encourages them and manages to get them to agree with him. As Fired Me 601 starts the fight, Kanata orders Lecky to distract the Arcaners, which she performs well. Riko uses long-range attacks to cover for Misora. Nisora then gets into the firing range and destroys all beetles with her strike blaster attack. But more and more beetles keep coming. Nisora fires a third strike blaster and finishes off every single beetle. Suddenly, a green laser beam is fired at Misora, which Kanata blocks while taking the hit. A new and more powerful chimera shows up, destroying the city. Kanata decides to take on the new chimera. Black Aura comes rushing out of his body with his stunning speed and power. He manages to injure Chimera. Kanata then kills the big chimera with his powerful Dark Strike blaster. Kanata falls from exhaustion. Yuri watches all the beetles stepping back, and Lloyd tells her that Kanata has taken care of them. As Real runs to save Yuri, he notices the fallen eye of Chimera. The three girls find Kanata, thinking that he is dead, but he wakes up saying that their sky is clear. Later, Kanata shows up at the stadium with his broken arm. Yuri happens to be there and asks Kanata about his arm. Eventually, Fired Me 601's second match arrives, and Kanata says that his team is going to outrank the whole academy. The next moment, they see Fired Me 601 lose terribly. Watch this next